Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. I hope you are all doing well. Today it's Tuesday, but most importantly, it's match day. Juventus against Lazio in Coppa Italia, and I know that all of you want this evening to be really fast. You want to play, you want to see our boys back on the field, you want to go on the field and taking revenge against the team of Igor Tudor. No, I know, I'm perfectly aware that a lot of you, the majority of you, they want just to push back the game of this evening. You don't want to see another disaster performance. You are fearing another loss of Juventus this evening. You don't believe that Juventus can do something. You are just pushing back. I perfectly understand it. I am aware of the feeling. Now I will tell you, I can't wait. I will tell you even more. I want to win this evening. I want to take a U-turn. And that will bring us towards the second part of this video, where I will try to explain you why I want to win. Even if a lot of people are telling me, Beppe, if we lose today, well, probably it will finally happen. That Juventus will sack Massimiliano Allegri and that we can finally turn the page and start with someone else. I will tell you why I want to win and this not to happen. But also I will tell you why and when I want possibly this to happen. So pay attention, it will be an interesting video. Of course, we'll start with the latest updates about the game of today, and then that second part is extremely interesting. So maximum of like if you didn't yet, please continue to subscribe. I believe, if I'm not wrong, that we are missing 15 subscribers to reach finally 29,000 Juventini on this channel before going towards the 30,000. Then, you know, with more subscribers we have on the channel, more great things that we can do. So I'm counting on you. We start immediately with Juve Lazio Coppa Italia, first leg of that semi-final. I am not here to repeat you how important it is, because we know it. We want to qualify at least to the final of Coppa Italia to participate to another trophy, the Super Coppa. Who will play this evening? Perin in the goal, and not because Szczesny spoke to the microphone after that loss against Lazio, but for a simple reason. Perin is the number one of Coppa Italia when he's healthy, and he is healthy. He starts Coppa Italia game. Bremer, Gatti, and Danilo in the middle of the defense, or with three defense, because we play a 3-5-2. Kostic on the left, Cambiaso on the right. The center midfield, Rabiot, Locatelli, McKennie up front, Chiesa, Vlahovic. And when we are watching that lineup, I know that there are immediately three questions. The first one, again, back to that 3-5-2. Why are we not trying something else? 1. 2. Again, Kostic. Why Kostic? The poor season, the disaster season of Kostic. He doesn't deserve to start. And third question, where is Yildiz? I will not answer all of these questions, but just thinking logically, when I see that lineup, according to me, this is what the technical staff is thinking is the best one to play, the one that played with most continuity, the one that brought the most point to Juve, that gave the most structure and organization to a Juventus. So when we are seeing this lineup, we can be sure that Juventus really want to win this evening. Will they be able to do it? Well, this is what we will discuss in the post-game live here on the channel right after that Coppa Italia game. So the intentions are good. Will we be able to do it? Big question mark. Will these choices be the correct choices? Big question mark. More than Max Allegri, counting on Max Allegri, the papers are all going towards one man, asking that man to be the savior of Juventus, and they are pointing at Dusan Vlahovic. Dusan Vlahovic, the hope, the light for Juventus is the title of Tuttosport. All are waiting for him to be the savior. The title of Gazzetta dello Sport is going towards medicine Dusan Vlahovic, especially because they go into the title or into the details with the stats of Dusan Vlahovic, games with and games without Dusan Vlahovic. With Vlahovic, 27 games out of 32, and he won a lot of these games. 2.22 games or points per game in average. 2.22. Goals scored by Juventus when he was on the field, 50, conceded 21. This is an average of 1.85 goals per game that he was present. In the games without, so we know it, 5 without him out of 32, Juventus has an average point per game of 1. You see the big difference? 2.22 when he's there, 1 when he's not there. And it's even worse when we are looking at the goals scored without Dusan Vlahovic. 0.8 goals scored per game, not even 1 per game. Total disaster. And that's why Tuttosport and Gazzetta dello Sport are going towards Dusan Vlahovic. You should be the savior of this Juventus. The last time that I have put a lot of hope, a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Dusan Vlahovic, 0-0 against Genoa, red card on him, and that's why I don't want him to be the savior of this Juventus. I'm not counting only about Dusan Vlahovic, because I know it. With too much pressure, Dusan is not performing as he should. So I will not point him, I will not put him as the one that I want to have on my thumbnail this evening for the post game. I will probably go for I don't know who, but I'm thinking that the team should do in a way or in another a Uter, even a dirty win, even if it's a 1-0, like Lazio did actually at the 93rd minute, which would not mean qualification, but at least giving again a win for Juventus. And not a loss, like a lot are hoping for, so that we sack Max Allegri. And that's where we enter now that second part of the video. Why? Because I'm reading a lot of sources. Some sources are saying, yes, he will be sacked. Some sources are saying, no, he will not be sacked, he will finish the season. Other sources are saying, he will even be there next season. So let's read Gazzetta dello Sport. Anche Allegri a rischio. Even Allegri is at risk. Without champions, it is goodbye. The old lady is interested by Motta. Motta is lied by the old lady. A title, according to me, but it's a personal opinion without extra info, it's totally nonsense. Why? Because if Juventus doesn't qualify for Champions League, and Motta is doing everything, yesterday they won 3-0 to qualify for Champions League, for what reason on earth would Motta go to Juventus without Champions League, while you can continue to do it with Bologna? One. Then, of course, you will tell me, Beppe, the prestige of the name Juventus, it's one occasion, because otherwise they go for another coach and the train would go for Thiago Motta, and he's obliged to do it, taking a bigger team in terms of name and history than Bologna. We can discuss. On the other side, I'm thinking about a lot of things. I'm thinking about the fact that I don't believe that Max Allegri will be there next season. With Champions League or without Champions League, I don't believe it. I believe that Juventus already took their decision about who will be the next coach of Juventus. And it is, according to all the sources, even yesterday Criscitiello said it on Sport Italia, the decision is already made. They already found an agreement. Thiago Motta will be the coach of Juventus 24-25. Juventus is waiting the end of the season to change. That's what Juventus has in mind, and this is why, at the moment, Max Allegri has not been sacked, even after the disaster moments. Juventus is hoping to qualify as fast as possible to Champions League. For what reason? Because now I will answer you a question that is really purely on logic. Juventus, with Allegri, without Allegri, with Thiago Motta, with Conte, with whatever coach that you want, Montero, Brambilla, whatever coach that will sit on the bench of Juventus 24-25, they will be obliged to change a lot in the 25 players that we have at the moment. A lot. Some players will leave, like an Alexandro, for example, for free. A Pogba will have to be replaced. There are so many things that Juventus will need to do. Also, completing a 11, a 15, a 16 that makes sense, which at the moment, since a few seasons, we don't make sense as a total team, because we are missing here, we are missing there, we are not complete here, we are not complete there. So Juventus will have to go with a lot. If we don't qualify to Champions League, it will be even more difficult. Because, calculation, Max Allegri, if you stop him before the end of the season or at the end of the season, it will cost you more or less gross 20 million euro. We know it has a salary of 7.5, so gross it's already 15 million euro, that if you sack him, you will need to pay him. Even if he stays at home, you will need to pay him. Plus the staff, plus changing coach. We are there, huh? Plus minus 20 million euro, and that's without going for a top international coach a la Klopp. Even Conte would ask much more as a Thiago Motta. So not that Juventus don't want to do it, but it's much easier with the qualification in your pocket, because you already have that bonus of that FIFA World Cup, 50 million euro, qualifying for the Champions League, 80 million euro, plus today and the return game against Lazio, participating to that Super Coppa for 3, 4, maybe 5 million more. All that money that you're saving, it is to probably sack the coach. It is to invest in a lot of new players, to change players. Not that we will go with huge, big amounts on transfer market, but probably being obliged to sacrifice a Bremer and to invest that money in overhauling the team, like I spoke about you on a channel a few videos ago. So think logically. Without Champions League, if we lose the Super Coppa, if we lose in Coppa Italia today, we don't participate to the Super Coppa, we lose, we continue to lose, we don't qualify to the Champions League, it's even more difficult because Max Allegri probably at the end of the season will not be there. But that means that you go for a Thiago Motta where you already have an agreement with, he comes with even no Champions League, which he will do with Bologna, one, and he will do it without a reinforcement on the market because you lose a lot of money. And that's why it's extremely important that we continue to win starting from today in Coppa Italia, to have that mental boost, that mental energy, to believe that we can win again, something that we are not doing since the Frosinone game. But even that would be super important to win today, to believe that we can again on the field beat a team, because that gives a more morale, more positive energy to start thinking about Fiorentina, which matters extremely a lot. And that's why I really don't want to lose just for my personal satisfaction to say, we changed the coach. No, first Juventus, and that money is super important, extremely important. We win. At the end of the season, I think, personally, the decision has already been made. If we can save this season and qualify into Champions League, I'm super happy. Because if he doesn't, that means that next season, the rebuild, we are already starting with a rebuild. It's not a new, but continuing that rebuild, well, instead of accelerating, we will stop. We will stop and we'll have a lot more difficulty to build, so to continue to build on the Juventus that we have this season. Super, super difficult, and that's why we want to win. Then, of course, if we are looking at the result of last 9 games, what do we see? That Juventus has a record of relegation zone. If you're looking at Inter, for example, in these last 9 games, they did 25 points with a win of yesterday. Salernitana, only 2 points. Frosinone, 3. Sassuolo, 5. You know who is the 4th worst team in the last 9 games? It is Juventus with 7 points. Relegation record. And that's why I hope we win today. I hope we win against Fiorentina. But if we are not able, against Fiorentina, maybe against Torino, that will be the moment to go and to take a bold decision. This is also what Tuttosport is telling us. Look, leaving immediately or sacking immediately Max Allegri, it's really difficult for all the reasons that I already mentioned to you, because Juventus doesn't want to do it. If they can, they want to postpone that decision until the end of the season. But it is not impossible, because Champions League starts to extremely be at risk. Important will not be the game of today, but the one against Fiorentina and the one against Torino. So hopefully we can win, because that means that qualification in Champions League is closer and we have a future that is more safe. But in case it doesn't happen, that's where Juventus will need to change, and probably where I will back up Juventus, will back up that big decision. And to me, a person that always wants to go towards the end of the season with a coach, to back up a decision like that mid-season or end of the season before the end, it's a big one. Because if you're looking at the result of yesterday, Bologna, they won 3-0. What a Bologna against a disaster Salernitana. But the question is, would this Juventus, be able to beat this Salernitana, as Bologna beat them? But then luckily, yesterday, Roma did 0-0 against Lecce. Luckily, because the new ranking is telling us Inter first, Milan second, 65 points. Forget about that second spot already. Juventus is third, only 2 points more than Bologna. You know what I will tell you? Inter, Milan, Bologna are not even teams that I'm looking at the moment. Unfortunately, because Juventus should always look at who is up front, who is behind. But you know who is really scaring me? Is Atalanta. You know why? Because if you're looking at the remaining games of Atalanta until the end of the season in Serie A, first of all, they have one more game, a game in hand against Fiorentina. But then they are playing against Cagliari, Verona, Monza, Empoli, Salernitana, Roma, Lecce, Torino. The only big name on paper that Atalanta will play in the last 8 games is Roma. The other ones, with this Atalanta, they should be able to beat them. Luckily, they are playing again games in Coppa Italia. Luckily, they are playing in Europa League, so hopefully they can be a bit tired, but they are scaring me because you see they have 50 points, but virtually 53, which is really close to Juventus. If they win all their games in Serie A, if they win all of them 8 on 8, they go at 77 points. Juventus at the moment have 59. If we want to be sure that Atalanta doesn't go over us, we need to do 19 points out of 24 remaining points, which is honestly a total disaster. Can't be. With a new coach, with Allegri, with whoever. So we need to hope that Atalanta in a certain moment, because of fatigue, because of whatever, they don't make 8 or 9. 9 wins on 9. That's what we have to pray for. So, recapping of the video and closing the video. First of all, I want Juventus to win this evening in Coppa Italia because I always want to win. I want my team to win, whatever the moment that we are in. 1. Secondly, because that would be the first step to qualify for that final. That means another trophy, Supercoppa. Third thing, winning today would give us a morale boost to think that we can win again and preparing the game of Fiorentina of this weekend. So these are all the reasons why I want to win. I also want to win and continuing Max Allegri, because if we continue with Max Allegri, that means that things are better, that we can qualify as soon as possible to Champions League. But of course, when is Beppe changing opinion? From the moment that we can't win against Fiorentina, from the moment that we can't win against Torino, and if Atalanta, they continue to push, and Roma continue to push. Luckily, Roma did 0-0, because that would mean that more than losing that third spot, because at the end, we are that much in a disaster that who cares? But more than losing that third spot, well, that qualification would be at risk, and then you need to take a big, bold decision. That was it for me. I hope you enjoyed it. We see each other after the game for the post-game live here on the channel. Maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe. Grazie, forza. Juve.